Hi everyone, welcome to Chapter 6 lecture. Chapter 6 is cross-discipline integration through social media. So we talked about SBU and how that classical purchase model is not working anymore with the era of social media because we have to consider post-purchase stage as well. So this is extended conversation with that integration of disciplines at the organizations. So before we getting into, do you guys know where this is? It's one of the places I really want to go in New England. It's super pretty, right? I hope I get a chance to see this in the fall of this year. It's in Vermont, some highway in Vermont. So you're supposed to hike up here and take this picture. So yeah, it's information superhighway. I'm sure everyone have heard about this term, meaning that we have this infrastructure of so much information, immediate information that you can just see and receive so much on the internet, right? And the characteristics of this is that we are capable of buying almost everything through e-commerce, right? Buying and selling goods and services over the internet. And these days, it's also common to trade through internet forum, right? In Korea, we have this thing called carrot market, carrot, like the vegetable carrot market. And that's where people post things they have, like, oh, I have this candle, but I don't need it anymore. Anyone who want to buy this in $5, so it's cheaper than the market. Sure, it has to be cheaper because I already used this. $3. Anyone wants to take it, come to this neighborhood at this time. So I'm curious if you guys ever felt fatigued because of too much information on the internet. I personally have, and that is why I try to spend less time on Facebook or Instagram. And I'm just tired of comparing myself to the other users on social media. I'm curious what your experience is on social media and just internet in general. The real convergence. So convergence meaning that two things or more than two things are combining into one, right? And this is happening in the media with the traditional and social media as well because of internet, right? So the main vehicle for convergence is the internet, and the infrastructure made it possible is called IP convergence, which means that using the internet protocol IP as standard transport, because IPs are all unique, right? For transmitting all information, made it possible to do the convergence between media. We also call this phenomena as Internet of Things and IoT, meaning that embedded technology such as there are smart TV, smart refrigerator, smart something for everything these days, right? Smartphone. So it's example of IoT, meaning that different connectivities and networks are happening in one tool. So one refrigerator is capable of for you to use the internet, for you to connect yourself to a grocery shopping site on the internet, and you can just order on your refrigerator computer, right? And that technology is called Internet of Things, IoT. So if you have chance, please go to this link. I thought it was pretty cool. It's a smart refrigerator from Samsung. And again, convergence is used in media platforms too, not just about the technological gadgets. So converged media, combining or blurring of paid, owned, and earned media. We talked about this in the previous chapters. That is why marketing, PR, ad, they're all combining these days. And that's why the SBU is more important nowadays. So brand-owned media can include brand websites, applications, text messages, events, blogs, social media pages, newsletter, any other publications. They can be all visible in all three of them, paid, owned, and earned media. And multi-channel marketing, meaning that we are using multiple channels to communicate with customers. It's not just one channel anymore. Each channel does not communicate with others, so that was a little bit more of a classical marketing style. However, nowadays we call it omni-channel marketing, integrates multiple channels and exchanging information with this multiple different hierarchy of the channel. And attention economy, meaning that when we see, especially on IG mainly, there are a lot of visual centered posts on Instagram And that's one of the things that I want you to guys think of when you post something on your own page. So it's called attention economy. Attention economics deals with the problem of getting consumers to consume brand messages. So once you get the attention of our customers, then there are higher chance for them to like our brand, get our products, right? Since the cost to transmit brand messaging to consumers is now sufficiently low, so more brand content can be delivered, then they can pay attention and process. So meaning that, again, the message fatigue, right? Since we have so many messages on IG, on the internet, on the forum, it's hard for them to pay attention these days. So I prepared one of the examples that one of my students posted last semester. So she felt very passionate about nail polishes. So for her social listening assignment, she listened to other nail company, and then this was her own nail page, Nails by Chloe 08. So she found this kind of very visual centered, or sometimes her own nails, visual centered images from Pexel, and posted this as Inspiration Day too. So this was one of her templated pillar posts. So it was around Halloween season, so it was perfect. I thought it was a really good example for the attention economy post. Think like an expert in all fields. So nowadays, since all fields are very combined with each other and they're converged, it's important to have knowledge of other disciplines too. So first, copywriters are the writers for advertising and publicity, and art directors will take charge of the whole vibe of your messages, right? And PR is focusing on non-paid forums, so more of an in-house channel for the brand communication and also event planning, speeches, and crisis communication when anything bad happens for your organization. And digital marketing specialists care more about the purchase of the customers, so who handle online activities for the brand, web development, advertising, SEO, paid search, e-commerce. But since we are combining all these disciplines, nowadays the more desirable advertising style would be the PRable advertising, which means that we want advertising that seems more long-term, more like a PR campaign. And we'll have more chance to talk about the difference between the ad campaign and PR campaign, and I want to show you some of the cool examples of PR campaigns as well. So if you see the example on the right, this was What's Your Name campaign in Starbucks, England. So there are a lot of LGBTQ plus individuals these days, but it is hard to have different first names from your own identity, right? So this girl in this campaign wanted to be called something else than her birth name, so she got called as her name that she wanted to be called, and she felt very happy afterwards. So that was their PRable advertising from Starbucks UK. So that's exactly what we want to do for our brands as well, right? So marketers and advertisers find it more useful to visualize their social media platform as a platform that holds everything together. So like we have been talking about for the previous 2 chapters as well, social media made it possible to combine all these disciplines together. So when forming a big idea, think about the consumer insights. We talked about the account planning last chapter, right? So what is the actionable insight that you have from your research? How can it be actionable across all 3 disciplines, marketing, advertising, and PR? What is the big campaign concept that will lead to engaging social media, newsworthy PR? We want more mentions from other journals. We want more mentions from other newspapers, and motivating and inspiring advertising. So when you have chance, please go to this link. It has really great list of strategies that we can think of to achieve the PRable advertising, and they have some good and bad examples. One of them was really funny. Have you guys had cereal or like a snack called Weetabix? So England Weetabix introduced trying Weetabix with the baked beans, and it didn't sound really great, but there was one TikToker tried it, British TikToker tried it, and she really disliked it. So I thought that was funny. I hope you go to this link and see all the examples. And here we will talk about the perceptual map and brand positioning. So a brand, we talked about what's the vibe that you want to create for your own IG page, right? So a name, design, symbol. When you think of Tesla, it looks really modern. It looks more like a city, right? Um, when you think of Bentley, it has more classic value and also matching well with the city. This is a perceptual map for luxury brands, besides Toyota, I guess, automobile brands. So a perceptual map is a marketing research technique. So with this tool, we will be able to visualize even better, right? With all these different brands. So what is the customer's view about a brand, product, or service on a horizontal and vertical axis of different attributes? So think of x-axis as sporty to city, y-axis to classic to modern, and see where these automobile companies positioned. So we make decisions based on both rational and emotional reasons. So use one axis as consumers' needs or functional benefits. So here it'll be sporty to the city. And then the other axis will be the consumer's wants and emotional benefit. So it could be classic and modern, or if it's very emotional, it could be comfy to unique or chic, right? Consumer perception of a brand is determining its value. So think about the most valuable brands these days: Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Coca-Cola. Think why they have so much value on our mind. And brand equity is a set of metrics used to measure the value of a brand. So I want you to have this activity after you watch this video. Let's draw our own perceptual map. I said in your group, but on your own after watch this video. Which product categories, brands are you interested? Are you interested in automobile, beauty, snacks, grocery chains? Pick any category and let's choose our X and Y axis. Let's start placing each brand on your map. I'm so curious what you come up with. If it's hard to draw on canvas, I want you to just simply use a pen and a paper and draw it on your own and take a picture and maybe post it on canvas. I would love to see what you come up with. Then social media advertising. We know that there are so much media that are available on social media, right? And these are some terms we all need to be familiar with. Reach, meaning that a number of unique people who see this post. So we have 500 reach, meaning 500 read your message. Impressions are the number of times a piece of content is displayed. Social media advertising is advertising that is heavily relying on social information or networks, also using the platform of social media. And native advertising is a little bit different from social media advertising. It's part of the paid marketing tool, but we want to make our native advertising look like a real article or a real post on social media. So social media advertising is more blunt and look more like an advertisement. But have you seen examples like 10 tips to do this, 10 tips to do that? And that's the example of native advertising. So for instance, 10 tips to cook your steak evenly. And then in a very subtle way, they talk about a specific brand's pen when they talk about a recipe. That will be the example of native advertising. So I thought this is a great example to see different platforms, different kind of social media advertising. So Jasper's Market, it looks like this on Facebook. They all have different types of layouts, right? And then an Instagram feed, then Instagram stories. And organic reach, meaning a number of unique people who saw this through unpaid distribution. Paid reach, of course, it should be the paid distribution. So you already paid for them to see your messages. With each social network becoming more flooded with content, the reach is dropping because there are so many messages that are available these days, right? By 2016, average organic reach rates for top social channels included 2.27 for Facebook, 3.61% for Twitter, 20% for LinkedIn. It's pretty impressive, and 20% for Instagram. So yeah, I didn't know LinkedIn would be a great place to disseminate your message, but it was really interesting. And the eMarketer survey of US social media users reported that 9 out of 10 most effective marketing tactics included sponsored social media messages. So when sponsored advertising first got introduced, consumers had a lot of bias and rejection because it seemed so artificial and not natural, right? However, since it's so prevalent these days, it's almost weird if we don't see any advertising if one brand is flourishing, right? Also, another type of advertising nowadays is using the AI and RTB, and we call it programmatic advertising. So it's very automated process of buying and selling advertising media and the spot and the time to advertise your message in the most effective way. It's kind of similar to what we just did on Sprout when we did the publishing, right? So when you have chance, please go to this link and learn what is programming advertising. And there's also influencer marketing, right? So, who is your favorite influencer? I have a lot that I follow, but since I didn't want them to be mixed with my personal IG, I just made another account that I just follow people. I didn't want it to be on my real account. And authenticity, we want more authenticity for the influencer marketing, right? That's how influencer marketing can be more successful. Social commerce is the use of social networks for online buying and selling through e-commerce. Remember the IoT conversation we had? Paid social media may buy exposure, but it does not buy engagement or action. So we all need this authenticity and trust and also great influencer choice to have more engagement. And one strategy may be to take the best performing organic content and then pay to boost the reach. So if one content is working really, really well, and then think of paying that as a paid reach. Social media is more effective when you add advertising, paid media, PR, earned media to help meet goals. So that's why converging these disciplines is way more important than previous days, right? Analytics, that is why we have the Sprout sessions. So it's a process of discovering and communicating the meaning of the data. So that's why I'm asking you guys to post 3 to 5 posts every week, and then you'll have enough data to talk about at the end of the semester with your peers and also other followers' engagement. These are some goals we can have as a social media manager, social media strategist to help accomplish our objectives. So think about the main tactics that support each strategy. So tactic is more actionable plan, strategy is more perceptual plan. List the measurable actions users take to fulfill your business objectives. And then think about macro conversion and then micro conversion. So macro conversion, first of all, are the key actions closest to business objectives. It could be online or offline sales. So if someone buy your product, that'll be the biggest, one of the most final goal that you can have, right? However, micro conversions are also something that you shouldn't ignore. They are smaller actions to move closer to your macro conversion, meaning that you have to have someone visiting your website. You can have more people signing up for the newsletter or a regular email as your customer, right? So that's all examples for micro conversions. Identifying and measuring micro conversions on the way to the macro conversion can map out your customer's journey. Okay, and the theory part today is about corporate and marketing communication, PR, and advertising. Here, hopefully it'll help you guys to differentiate a little bit more about marketing and PR and advertising. So corporate communication involves both internal and external communications with stakeholders. Internal stakeholders include your employees. External stakeholders includes anybody who has interest for your organization. Could be your customers, could be anyone who has your stocks, right? And then marketing communication, meaning any promotional messages delivered through channels like print, radio, television, and personal selling. PR, we want to base more on the unpaid, non-paid forms of media. For instance, a goodwill of the public, words of mouth, more mentions from the media, So customers, employees, investors, even in PR, you should take care of your internal communication too. That's a very important part of PR. And advertising, you are not doing the internal communication here, but you're focusing more on the external communication. So you want to place and announce the persuasion messages in time or space purchased in mass media. So advertising is based on the paid media. That's the main difference between PR and advertising. And integrated marketing communications seeks to align these all disciplines all together and coordinate all marketing communications delivered to consumers in a more cohesive way. And internal marketing, meaning that if it's a really big firm, there will be more than 1,000 employees in one building, right? Then they also have to learn all these policies. If there's any change in the policy, especially with COVID, right? Anything that we all need to know, if there's a big change in the C-level or managerial level, anything that employees should know. That's all part of the internal marketing and internal communication. So integrate the traditional marketing with social strategy. That's how we are converging the media and converging marketing, ad, and advertising all together, right? So first step will be identify the traditional brand marketing, PR, advertising, and digital efforts. And then second, explain the current promotion, concept, character, theme, and tagline. And then list the ways which current marketing communications effort could be combined with the new social media idea. So if a new traditional marketing are needed, explain why they should be. So think of this to apply for your own IG brand as well. If we had more traditional idea conceptually, how can we bring them to more of a social media exposure, right? This is a discussion question of this video. Ethics can get tough. We had ethics question 2 chapters before this, right? Ethics can get tough in social media where disciplines blur. You are a PR pro working on a campaign for a client to get earned media coverage. You contact a prominent contributor to a top publication. The author agrees to feature the brand's new product in an upcoming article, but wants to be compensated for the mention. What should you do? And if you want to compensate, how much is adequate, do you think? Just a reminder for you guys, I don't know where you're at right now, but we have this important deadline for the Sprout session. April 14th is our final project proposal and final project proposal presentation submission day. So you can submit anytime before this. If you're still in March, you're in a great track, right? So take your time to write the proposal and presentation. And another reminder, April 8th is the Google Analytics certificate submission day. So I took 2 hours to get it. But if you really focus, I'm sure you can do it a little bit faster than me too. So final project proposal, I kept mentioning is you don't have to worry too much about the proposal part. I just want to see more of an outlook of your final project. So these are the content that you need to take care of. Don't forget to post 3 to 5 posts every week for your page on Instagram. And then the final project proposal presentation. I hope you have a chance to read this before you get to write your proposal. All right, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next Sprout video and also the next lecture video. Bye!